We are all evil in some form or another. Are we not?
Welcome back to Today. We're jumping into a new show, a show that everybody has requested over and over again. And I am here to give you guys what you need, what you want, and what you crave. We're going to be watching The Night Stalker, The Hunt for a Serial Killer. I've never heard of this person, so I don't know what we're going to be getting into. I don't know who he is. His name is, I don't know that either. I thought it was going to be here, but of course, psych! But yes, we're going to be getting into this, guys. I do know that American Horror Story, there was one. I think I did this reaction American Horror Story on my channel. And why did I stop? I think nobody cared. I think I was watching it and reacting to it, and I think like none of my subscribers at the time cared about the show. So I think I was like, I think I was the only one who watched it, and then I was the only one who watched it again when I put it on my channel. So anyways, but in this particular season, which I never, oh, that's why. I think you guys did care a little bit, but it was so irritating for me. I did not like it. It was so dumb. And there was a guy that was killing people at night. I don't know if that was like based on this dude, but yeah. So there's that. Did you guys like story time? You know what's so crazy? I'm exhausted. I'm super exhausted. I just filmed one other show earlier, and I barely, like, my body is like, my soul is somewhere else. So like, I don't know what I'm giving you guys. So guys, please bear with me. I hope this is a really fun reaction. Just so you guys know, this is going to be available for a full reaction from my entire platform here on the YouTube platform, as well as my other platform, Patreon. So guys, please sign up to one of those platforms to help support the channel. Today, I'm ready to jump right into this, guys. So without further ado, let's jump into The Night Stalker, The Hunt for a Serial Killer, and find out exactly what you all have been talking about. Oh, is this LA?
Hello, my name is Detective Gil Carrillo of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, assigned to Homicide Bureau. A series of homicides and sexual assaults that have occurred in Los Angeles County. The suspect has used guns, knives, tire irons, handcuffs, and thumb cuffs.
Los Angeles City has almost all benefits and no negatives.
We had the Olympics.
We were proud of the city, proud of LA.
Huge decade.
Crime dropped like a rock.
Wow.
We had this amazing city, so many parallel universes.
One side, it was glamorous, celebrities. But if you went around to the other side, LA could be a very dark place. It also attracted very, very dangerous people.
Nobody knows where this individual may strike next.
The so-called Night Stalker who has terrorized California.
Yesterday, he struck again.
I am not leaving my door open for my son. I don't care if he sleeps on the street.
I don't understand why somebody must know. He's a weird-looking character. Somebody has to know him.
Go ahead, lady!
Your number is there. One day we're all gonna die. We just don't know when. Start dying the day you were born.
Shut up. You give me anxiety.
I believe in God. I believe in the Holy Spirit.
Good for you.
I believe there's a devil. I believe there's an evil force.
He believes a lot.
Need the wisdom and the knowledge to bring this case to a solution.
East Los Angeles. Or Angeles, people say. 1960.
All the people on the block that I lived on were Mexicans.
I love Mexicans. Just saying.
Cop told my mom and dad, sign for this young man to get off the streets or he'll end up dead or in prison. At age 17, my parents signed for me to go into the Army. I was a crew chief with 189th Assault Helicopter Company in Vietnam. As soon as I got out of the armed forces, I had 3 goals in life. One was to start dating my former girlfriend, see if I can get her back, then break up with her. I wanted revenge. Hurt her like she had hurt me.
Didn't work out that way.
And we were married by December.
Goal number one. Goal number two was to go to college. Nobody in my family had ever gone to college.
So he's gonna cry.
Enrolled in Carrillo College. And the third one was I wanted to become a cop.
I already love this guy. That's a nice story. I loved it.
I became a patrol cop at East LA Sheriff's Station. When I was 29 years of age, I got an outstanding evaluation. When I showed it to my mom and dad, my dad looked up and said, "I'm proud of you, son."
He always wanted to make his dad proud of him.
Wow, Sheriff's Homicide's here. And I told him, one of these days, I want to do your job. I get called to go to Homicide Bureau. That was my goal, that was my dream, and I had made it.
Downtown Los Angeles, Tony Valdez, Channel 11 News.
A lot of murders that ended up being solved because the Bulldogs never let go.
We probably ran 350, 400 murders a year. So in LA County, there's probably close to 1,000 murders a year.
Frank Salerno's the Italian stallion. He's the Goomba. He's everything. When I got there, he was working on the Hillside Strangler. Everybody looked up to him. He's the man.
Frank Salerno was a straight shooter. He's a disciplined guy.
Frank overlooks nothing. You'd be surprised how thorough he is on an investigation.
Gil Carrillo and Jim Mercer were teamed together as partners, and he was the youngest detective in the bureau at the time.
I've never eaten Italian food. I grew up in a Mexican home. That's what I know is Mexican food. Here I am. Last week, I'm eating a double-wrap red chili burrito off the hood of a radio car. Tonight, I'm wearing a suit and tie, eating some shit that I don't know what it is, drinking a glass of wine.
Table that was full of junk, and there was this hat. Letters on it said AC/DC. I didn't know what that was, and that was kind of weird. And he stood right there and picked up the hat, looked at it, and he had the devil on his hand. There's a round circle with the face of the devil. He got the hat, walked away. When I went home from work, here comes somebody speeding way behind me. And then all of a sudden he just swerves around my car like a moment stop. I remembered, that was the same guy I saw at the thrift store. Horrible big grin. And he's missing all these teeth. It was like a killer clown.
He had a guy? He shot her?
The date was March 17th, 1985, St. Patrick's Day. I get there, and the garage door is open. I see blood spatterings around the door and on the floor. There was a baseball cap. It said AC/DC on it, and see a bloody phone inside the bedroom. I see Dale Okazaki lying on the kitchen floor. She put her hands on a countertop and lifted her head up. He was on the other side of the countertop waiting for her, waiting right there. And when she did, he pulled the trigger.
Oh my God.
Maria Hernandez had just driven home. She entered via the garage door. She turned around, and there was the male suspect with a stargaze look, with a gun stretched out, coming towards her face. The bullet deflected off the keys in her hand. She jumped up and started running down the alleyway when she heard another gunshot. He'll come back out the garage door. But he didn't. He came out the front door. Maria says, I just threw my hands up in the air and said, "Hey, you already shot me once. You really have to shoot me again." The suspect puts the gun down by his side and doesn't even run. He walks away. I'm not thinking about anything else other than getting accurate documentation of what my observations are. Directing the photographer to take photographs of the crime scene. The mother of Maria Hernandez is out here, and she'd like to have a couple of words with you. Gilbert, is that you? And I'm sitting there saying, Gilbert, nobody called me. I'm Gil. It's me, Pauline. And I said, Pumpkin? The mother of Maria Hernandez, a neighbor that lived 3 doors down from me when I was a kid growing up. This case was already close to home. There was a murder that had occurred probably a mile from where Dale Okazaki got killed.
She is stopped, and she's yanked out of her car, and she's shot for no apparent reason.
Her last words, "Help me, help me."
It was the same caliber weapon, but you can't assume that it's the same gun. Thousands upon thousands of .22s out there.
I can tell you he was 5'10", something like that.
And he goes out to his car and he brings out an identikit drawing. His drawing came from the physical description of a suspect of an attempted kidnapping out of the city of Pico Rivera. There's a professor there by the name of Robert Morneau. Great man, best professor I've ever had. That there's a deviancy that says, I like to see a frightened look on your face. I want to see you scared. That's what really gets me turned on. He could have walked up behind her in silence and killed her. He didn't. Intentionally slapped the top of a car so that she could turn around and see him. He was down on the ground and he waited until he saw the fear in her eyes. Then he shot her right here. Whoever the suspect was wanted a confrontation, wanted to see that fear.
That's really scary.
I was in alliance with the evil that is inherent in human nature. That was who I was. Walking death.
Double murder out in Whittier County area. Pretty brutal murder.
You could see where he stepped on a 5-gallon plastic can. The place was ransacked.
The male is executed as he's sleeping on the couch.
Dale Okazaki killed with a .22, Silene Yu killed with a .22, and the Zazar is killed with a .22. She has several stab wounds just above the vagina. He had been raped, and he actually cut her eyes out.
Why did he do that? Was it because she stared at him or got a hard look at him?
So he took the eyes with him, and then he's gone.
Took the eyes with him? Oh, I can't do this.
Shoe print left at the point of entry and in the flower beds around the house. That was a full-size 11 to 12 shoe.
I was 6, and my first memory of that night is the window opening and being woken up, being carried. He reminded me of a family member. Okay, I know him, so I guess this is okay that I'm going. He looked at me and he said, you know, open up the glove compartment. There was a gun inside. He, shut it and just kind of like, just so you know, that's there. Things started from there. Look at him and touch him and things like that. And then we got to where we were going. I remember there being German Shepherds barking and a chain link fence, and he made me get into a zipped up duffel bag. We had to walk through a room with a couch, drapery or just something that made it dark and, I don't know, just slimy. Food packages and takeout stuff around. There was just this soundtrack of Madonna going on.
Not Madonna!
I remember saying, stop, this hurts, don't. And I go to the bathroom and he would stop what he was doing and take me over to the sink and sit me on the sink. And then nothing would happen for a while, then he'd take me back and continue. Something in the way that he would look at me that it was almost like, I'm sorry that I'm doing this to you, but I'm not sorry because I'm not gonna stop. And after a while, we stopped, said, there's a gas station over there. I want you to go in there and I want you to tell them to call 911. He let me go.
At that time, there was a series of child abductions or attempt abductions of children.
February 25th in Montebello, a 6-year-old girl was taken from a schoolyard, molested, then abandoned. A 9-year-old boy was snatched from his bed, molested, then abandoned.
It's an entirely different unit. I was assigned to the Sheriff's Homicide Bureau. You look for broadcast, everything else that's going on around in the area, what's happening. When you look at the reports that the children gave, their descriptions were very similar. Light-skinned Hispanic or Caucasian, disheveled hair, round stained gap teeth, and a pungent odor. We had a serial killer that was responsible for kidnapping children, girls, boys, killing adult women, killing males. We've never encountered anybody like that in criminal history.
Is it possible? Absolutely. Is it probable?
On April 10th, I attended a meeting of local law enforcement from the Los Angeles area. I was alleging that the child abductions were related to the homicide.
These old-timers, they laughed it off.
I went there openly and honestly.
Gil was very frustrated with the way he was being treated.
Walk out of this office. Every time you come in, every time you walk out, they're motherfucking you to death, thinking you're a young punk.
He had a good sense of this killer, so I just encouraged him.
A deputy from the station approached me and said, some girls called the cops. The guy had long hair, was tall, light-skinned Mexican. And they said he drove around a parking lot, finally saw a lone female, and he started following her. If he sees any female, it didn't matter. Guy went through all kinds of traffic stuff just to get to him, and I talked to him. Making all kinds of U-turns because you want to get next to women? Yeah, I like women. Nothing wrong with that. And so I put a 6-pack mug show folder together. One of the people I showed it to was Maria Hernandez. And she said, that could be him. Go down his house. We find all kinds of pictures out of magazines. He's got ladies' underwear, and they're all sliced in the crotch. Had a lineup, and nobody could pick him in the lineup. Not even Maria Hernandez. He's a freak. He's not your freak.
Oh, it's just a weirdo? This is such a creepy show.
Case of the Doys in Monterey Park, I was called to go to their home. It was really violent and destructive.
The man shot 66-year-old William Doy, then raped, beat, and robbed his wife.
They found his wife badly beaten. On the thumb of her left hand, she was wearing thumb cuffs, a bizarre restraining device that in her attempt to free herself, Mrs. Doy had ripped her thumbs apart.
We had nothing. We had a whodunit.
A friend of mine from Montebello PD says, I may have found a link that's going to help you link these cases. He showed me a picture of a footprint that was taken at a child abduction.
Taken to a construction site and was sexually assaulted. They had poured concrete that day, and there was a shoe print in the concrete.
The same or similar footprint that was lifted at the Zazara homicide crime scene.
Somewhere between 11 and the 12.
And so I called up my lieutenant and I said, okay, I found the link. Got the guys from LAPD in here that are handling that case. They're looking for a size 10. I'm looking at a shoe that's a 1-to-1 with a ruler in it. It's 12 inches long. Wingtip down over the shoe print. I said, my shoe cover has got to be a size 10 because I've obviously made a mistake and I got to change it.
My Lord, this guy was crazy. This guy is the worst.
Bill loses his partner. My partner goes off eventually to retire. So we decided to hook up.
And I went back and I sat next to my wife and I said, Frank Salerno just asked me to be his partner.
Gil was young, enthusiastic, had a good reputation, and spoke Spanish. And I thought we'd make a good team.
Well, the next day he comes up to me and he says, I was in my cups that night. He says, yeah, but I'm not in my cups now. I'm asking you, are you still interested?
I was really surprised in a way when I first realized that Frank Salerno, the almost bigger-than-life murder cop, and then there's this guy, Gil Carrillo. When he was a patrol deputy, he was known as El Cucuy, the boogeyman.
Frank was all business, no smile. He was, jovial. Gil was a welcome relief.
And he asked me, and I was tickled pink. I was flying. Patty Lane Higgins was killed in City of Arcadia.
The killer was very enraged. He viciously cut her throat. Then he stabbed her in that slash. We've got another murder, so Gil and I roll out to the Cannon case.
He had her throat slit, very similar to the way Patty Lane Higgins' throat had been slit. And then we get to the 5th of July, 3 days later.
There is a fabric mark in blood on the windowsill.
We never find a single fingerprint in any of our crime scenes.
She was beaten with a tire iron at her parents' home in Sierra Madre.
The room was ransacked.
She woke up, bloodied, beaten, her bedroom in a disarray.
It's a difficult situation to interview a 16-year-old that had just gone through this.
Oh my God.
You really want to get your hands on the individual.
We didn't even go in the room where the assault happened because we didn't want to contaminate it. And she walks out and says, hey fellas, found something maybe interesting to you. I think you got to take a look at it.
And she walks out to us and she opens it up and there's a shoe print in blood.
The same footprint that was at the Zazara murder Same footprint that was found at the northeast abduction of a 10-year-old little girl.
Gil and I just look at each other. It's like, wow.
Okazaki, Silent Yu, Cesara, Patty Lane Higgins. We have Mary Cannon. And now I'm Whitney Bennett. The Bureau didn't think that it was one man, but once Frank got on board and said, yes, it's one man, everybody listened.
We got a hell of a series going here.
We got us a serial killer.
Oh, it's the outro? Well. Ooh, I like that. That was actually one of the scariest episodes I've ever seen of any show. This murderer seems to be horrendous. I was about to say, comparison, but I'm not going to do comparisons because serial killers are what they are. They are people that have murdered many people and taken away human life. So I don't like to do comparisons, but this guy was very violent. He was literally doing it all. Kids, older people, young people. He didn't know anybody. He's creeping through people's windows, doors. He's out of control. This is one of the most violent things I've ever seen in my whole entire life, and I'm probably gonna have issues sleeping tonight. I don't know. Like, I'm so serious. It is very creepy. I'm gonna leave like a bedroom light on. Heidi Ho, wind slow. Yes, I would rate this episode a 10 out of 10. The Mexican cop, he really made me emotional in the beginning. Just learning about his history and learning his backstory and hearing his story. Like, I felt like if I kept listening to him, he's one of those people that I would listen to and just start like crying because he's like really good at telling stories and I feel it. But these two seem really good. I just can't get past everything I heard. It's like I'm trying to take it out of my head and trying to take out what I see out of my vision, but this is really scary. This is one of the scariest things I've ever seen. I don't know if I said it already, but this is one of the scariest things I've ever seen. I watched Ted Bundy, I watched John Wayne Gacy, I watched Jeffrey Dahmer. None of them left me with the feeling of this. This episode left me like I'm scared. I'm actually terrified. It makes me think like everything that I do to other people, like if I irritate people, I'm like, oh, I'm totally scared. So I might just like be really quiet from now on. I love you all. Please don't hurt me. Like, I'm totally scared. Like, I'm actually really scared. And this purple lighting in the background that goes with this damn show makes me even more scared. Like, how did I know that was the same color? Oops. Like, I gotta go. Bye. No, but on a scale of 1 to 10, like I said, this is a 10. This is very scary. I need a moment. This show, I need a moment. So I will be spacing this out because I need a moment. I'm so sorry. I know you guys really want me, but I can. There's no human way, physically, there's no way. You guys know what I'm trying to say. I just can't. I would not be able to binge this. I don't know who could binge this. If you binge this, I give you a standing ovation. You are brave, you are strong, and the force should be with you. Next time we're going to be getting into our documentaries, our true crimes. We're going to be finishing up Casey Anthony, and then we'll get back to this. So definitely, guys, stick around. Please share, please like this video, please comment down below. I would love to read your comments. Liking and sharing and commenting also helps this video, also helps this channel. We are on the road to 10K. I said it in my intro, I'll say it in my outro. So please help me with that, guys, and I will see you next time with more creepy ass shit.